We're connected to the phone wirelessly, safe, secure, private, isolated. We are not only able to see this stuff, but we are seeing it unencrypted. In this video, we're going to build a rogue Wi-Fi network on Kali Linux. We're going to force the Android device to connect to that network. And then once we've established that connection, we're going to prove it at multiple layers of the OSI model. This is building your own Wi-Fi lab and then inspecting Android from the inside. Let's go ahead and get started. So in a previous video, we were able to leverage the power of ADB, and we were able to force the phone to connect to a newly created network that we had just created. The phone had never connected to it before. There was no saved profile, and simply by running ADB commands, we were able to make that phone connect to that network and then actually see network traffic. Absolutely amazing. So in this video, we're going to pick up where we left off and we're going to take things even deeper. To make things even easier for you guys, I have created another bash script. This bash script actually automates the process of both creating the network and forcing the Android phone to then connect to the network. So you don't need to remember long commands. Run the bash script and it's going to do all the legwork for you. So let's go ahead and get started. I have created a GitHub repository that goes over some of the things that I am showing you in this video today. So let's head over to the GitHub repository. As always, links will be in the description. So this is called Android Lab. This is a controlled Kali Linux wireless lab that provisions Android over ADB. So a lot of the commands that you're going to see me type in the terminal today, you can actually copy and paste from this GitHub repository. So we're going to come up here to the green box, click on code, copy the HTTPS URL to the clipboard, go down to the command line. You're going to do a git clone of that GitHub repository, hit enter, and then cd into the newly created Android lab directory. I've already done that to save time. When you do an ls, you're going to see a bash script called adb wi-fi provision.sh. Make that script executable by running chmod +x on the name of the bash script, and you are ready to go. Alright, so the script is ready to go. You need to make sure that you have an Android phone connected to your machine with a USB cable. Verify that the device is connected. You need to have developer options and USB debugging enabled, obviously. Verify that it is connected by running ADB devices, and you should see it as a attached device just like I have it here. I'm going to start up the script with a // followed by the name of the bash script. This is the Android Wi-Fi provisioning tool. It checks to make sure Network Manager is ready. Then it checks the ADB connection to verify that there is a device detected. And then we have the hotspot configuration. So it gives you a list of all available wireless interfaces. The adapter that I'm using for this is sitting on WLAN 1. So I'm going to enter that in. Next, we have to create the hotspot SSID. This is something that you are able to come up with on your own. You don't have to use the name that I am using. So I'm going to call this Lab 9 and hit enter. Next, you have to create a password for this network. This is a real network. It is utilizing WPA2 encryption. So we're going to create a password for it and hit enter. It starts up the hotspot. You see the hotspot is active. It gives you the credentials. When you see provision network provisioning command sent, that means it has sent the ADB commands to the phone. Over here you can see that it is obtaining an IP address, so we're just waiting for that to complete, and it has completed. So the IP that has been assigned to it is listed right here underneath connection verification, and there you go. You hear that wonderful sound, further letting you know that this phone is now connected to our hotspot. Alright, first we're going to show that the hotspot is in fact active. We can do that by running nmcli device status. Here's the device, WLAN 1. It is connected, and the connection is a hotspot connection. We can also run nmcli connection show -- active. It'll show you a little bit more information, including the UUID of the connection. For a little layer 2 proof, we can run the command iwdev followed by the name of the interface and station dump. We're able to get some very good information from this output. You actually are able to even see that there are RX packets and TX packets that are traversing back and forth. This proves that the phone is connected, it's authorized, it's authenticated, and it's associated. And finally, for some layer 3 proof, we can show IP assignment by running ipna for neighbor, followed by show dev for device and the name of the interface, which is WLAN1. And what this shows us is interface confirmation. We have an IP address, we have a MAC address, we have layer 3 proof. All right, so let's step this up a little bit. Let's view traffic in real time. We're going to do that first by using the tcpdump command, and then we'll take a look at using Wireshark after that. So if I do a what is on tcpdump, this is used to dump traffic on a network. So we're going to run sudo tcpdump followed by a -i and specify the interface, which is WLAN1 for me. And I could just leave it at that and it'll dump information to the screen, but I'm going to refine it just a little bit. And I'm going to add on port 53. So we are filtering solely for traffic on port 53, or in other words, that which is related to DNS. So let's go ahead and hit enter. Now I'm going to bring the phone back over and whoop, and there we go. So before I could even touch the phone, we're already seeing DNS resolution happening in real time. So this means that even though I haven't opened an app or anything yet on the phone, something on this device is attempting to reach out to Google. There are numerous queries that are being made to dl.google.com, mtalk.google.com, alt3-mtalk.google.com. We are getting a very thorough understanding of just a little bit of what really happens on these devices. There are numerous queries being made, connectivity checks, play.googleapis.com, dl.google.com. We haven't even started interacting with the device yet. These things are mini supercomputers in our pocket, and the DNS traffic is not even encrypted. I'm going to say that that's by design. Just like nowadays phones have eSIMs instead of physical SIM cards that you can remove from the phone. The batteries are built in so you can't pull the battery out. All of this stuff is by design. You're telling me that you haven't been able to figure out a way to encrypt DNS traffic by now on a phone? We're going to open up the messaging app. And you can immediately see traffic being generated. Now that is very interesting. Why, if I want to send a text message, why in the hell is it still reaching out
to Google APIs?
That's interesting. All right, next we're going to use Wireshark to view live traffic. If I do a what is on Wireshark, Wireshark is used to interactively dump and analyze network traffic. Once again, it is pre-installed on Kali Linux by default. We don't need to do anything else. So I'm going to start up Wireshark with sudo privileges. Now you have a couple of different options here. You could just capture on any. That'll capture anything and everything that is happening. Or you can specify the actual interface. I'm going to specify the interface, which for me is WLAN1. So I'll double click on that. This is definitely not a Wireshark tutorial, so I'm not going to go deep into the terminology or into how this is organized. But the main thing is that we see a ton of traffic inside of the window here, and Wireshark is amazing. Things are color coded so we can actually narrow down things like the four-way handshake. We have a little bit of everything right now, from TCP to ICMP, from DNS to ARP packets that are traversing over this network live for us to view. So we could come up here to the display filter, And if we want to just look at one thing in particular, say for example DNS, you can just type in DNS, hit enter, and now everything that we see inside of this window pane. I don't know my Wireshark terminology as far as what pane is as far as what the names of each one of these window panes are. So if I'm butchering that a little bit, I apologize. But we're able to filter strictly for DNS, or if we wanted to, we could filter for ICMP. So let's do that. So I have a filter running strictly for ICMP, which will allow us to see, for example, a ping request being made in real time. So we're going to have our inside man send 9 ping requests over to the DNS server for Google, which is
8.8.8.8.
So you can see that it's sending the ping request, and immediately you see the pink filtering being applied up here in the window as those 9 ICMP requests, those echo requests using the ICMP protocol, are being sent to 8.8.8.8. Even though 9 packets were transmitted and 0 were received, the whole point is that we are not only able to see this stuff, but we are seeing it unencrypted. You can see in the destination column that it is being sent to 8.8.8.8. So one of the takeaways from this is that you need to be using a VPN. If you were using a VPN on your Android device, you wouldn't be seeing any of this, because everything would be first and foremost sent to that Malvad VPN server, for example, if you were using Malvad, which hopefully you are, because in my opinion, Malvad VPN is the best VPN provider on the planet. That's not a plug. I don't get paid for that, but I believe in Malvad. In fact, I have a video that's going to be coming out soon in which I take a nice little deep dive into installing Malvad VPN on Kali Linux and how I configure Malvad VPN. And I'm also going to be giving away free VPN time for Malvad. So stay tuned for that. First and foremost, members will be taken care of. I got to take care of my channel members first, but I'm going to be giving away some VPN time for everybody, so be on the lookout for that. Why are we even using the USB cable? We've created our own private Wi-Fi network. We are going to create a new ADB connection to the phone over the air. Now, to enable TCP IP mode, we're going to run the command ADB TCP IP followed by a specific port number. That port number is going to be 5555. After hitting enter, you see the phone disappears. It restarted in TCP mode on port 5555. Next, we need to determine the current IP address of the phone. I'm going to copy that IP address. The final command is going to allow us to connect wirelessly to the phone. To do this, I'm going to run ADB connect followed by the IP address of the Android device, and we're going to specify port 5555 from the earlier command that we ran. I'm going to hit enter. Once again, there's a prompt on the phone. I have to allow USB debugging because this is a new connection that has been created. You see the phone is still being displayed on my desktop. If I rerun ADB devices, we now have 2 devices showing up. One phone, 2 devices. This first one is our connection to the phone through the USB cable. But the new one, this second entry, is for our new connection that we just made, which is completely wireless. So at this point, we no longer need a USB cable. I can unplug this phone and I'm still going to have a connection to it. So I'm going to unplug the phone. You do see that screen copy disappears. That is because that connection was being made through the USB cable. I'm going to start screen copy back up, and this time it's going to connect over the air. First, I'm going to rerun ADB devices just to show you that the only device attached now is the device that we have connected to wirelessly over the air. We're connected to the phone wirelessly over the air with our private Wi-Fi network that we created. Safe, secure, private, isolated. So I'm going to start screen copy back up. So just to further prove to you that this is real, I'm going to actually open up the camera app. This is 100% real, ladies and gentlemen. There is the adapter that I am using to create the hotspot. Here's some additional projects that I may or may not be working on. When you build your own infrastructure, you stop guessing. When you verify every layer, you stop assuming. When you inspect from the inside, you stop trusting surface level indicators. That's forensics, not just of networks, but of systems, not just of devices, but of yourself. The same mindset applies everywhere. Control the environment, observe the signals, validate the truth. Because real security and real growth starts when you stop taking things at face value and start inspecting what's really happening under the hood. Thank you for watching this video. As always, keep learning and stay fresh.
No handouts, no cars, no pads on the back. Just passion and discipline, I stayed on track. Motivation in my chest like a flame that won't die. Even when the nights were cold and the days passed by lonely, yeah. But never bored in the grind. Every upload a brick, building one sub at a time. Fresh forensics, yeah, that name got weight. While they slept on me, I reshaped fate. Nobody believed, but I stayed the course. Turned silence into power. Now I'm the source. I did it alone. Now I celebrate solo. Another Fresh Forensics Friday. Watch me glow though. Did it my way. Can't stop, I'm still flowing. Fresh Forensics. Keep learning, stay fresh, keep growing.